Uncle Levi.
Yes, sir.
Let's get your full name and your place and date of birth.
I am Levi Nathan Ross Sr. Was born in Los Angeles, California on July 9, 1960.
Oh, your birthday's coming up, man.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
I feel good. I feel great. You know, I feel better than good. I feel great.
Good. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Los Angeles in a small city of Watts.
Oh, that's what's up. All right,
Yeah.
cool, man. And what's your current age?
I'm 60 and a half.
60. I love that. I love that. And do you know what today's date is?
Today is, 25th.
Sunday,
Yeah,
April
it's
25th.
Sunday, April 25th.
2021, right?
You know, I got mixed up on the number, but I know that we're in the month of April
Sunday,
Sunday
year 2021.
2021.
Man, so awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. And what is your current occupation?
I work for Department of Mental Health, LA County, and I am what they call, and well, I'm on leave right now, actually.
Sure.
But I'm what they call a community health worker.
And historically, what was your longest occupation?
This job here has been my longest occupation. Yeah, this will be my 20th year, or 21st year working with LA County.
Gotcha. When you was growing up, what was your dream career? What was your dream
My
job?
dream was first to play some football,
Hey,
to actually, let me say it correct. First, I wanted to become an engineer, an electronic engineer. And as I grew, I figured, well, I love sciences, so I want to go into the sciences more. I wanted to be a hopeful doctor.
really?
I didn't know in what specialty at that moment.
Around what age was this happening?
This was happening around 9, 10. I didn't tell nobody, but the many different
Thanks for sharing with us, man.
times that my sisters and we were playing hospital. I didn't like some of those hospital times.
Sure.
Boy, they did some stuff. But they said, okay, it's time to take your temperature. I said, no, I don't want that. Because at that time in the 60s, you know where you have to get your temperature, it's in your butt. And I didn't want my sisters sticking nothing in my butt. No, they did it 1 or 2 times. No, I don't want that no more. I don't want to be the patient. I want to be the person going to pick up the.
We're excited about it, man. Alethea like muffin tops too, man. That's so fun, man.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So, and then I've always wanted to be some type of person to help. So I wanted to become, in my mind of minds and my heart of heart, I wanted to be some kind of a soldier.
Really?
And I wanted to be some type of a fireman. I wanted to be a fireman.
Around when was the soldier fireman thing happening?
Around the same time of
Really?
9, 10. My probably soldier was actually a couple of years before, because our cousin Jackie from Alabama, grandmother's cousin, my mom's cousin, he came and he was a little shorter than my second oldest son, Keyshawn. He was about 6'5", maybe 6, somewhere around there. He's about, I say he's 6'10". You probably say different.
Sure.
So he was in the Army, Jackie, and he was a medic. So I really was thrilled that he was that medic. And every little boy always would ask the pivotal question: how many people did you kill?
Yeah.
So he didn't
Yep.
like that question that I know I probably asked him, did you shoot anybody?
Yeah.
He didn't like it. But the bottom line is, I still want to be someone to help other people in life.
Yeah.
So, our
Today, what's your dream job? Do you have a dream career today?
today, uh, yes, my dream job would be to do voiceovers and to do some type of artistic
Really?
work for people to see on the planet because
Yeah.
I know that art is all around us. Everything that we see, whether we want to believe it or not, is art.
Yeah.
And I feel so entrenched with art. Art is like me. I'm art. You're art.
Indeed.
You are art.
Yeah. So tell me, what is your father's full name?
He is Levi Nathaniel Ross Sr. People would say Lev. I say Levy because Leve.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it sounds.
You always say Levy?
I didn't always say Levy. I've always said Lev, but to give him the proper
Respect.
respect, I call him. I say Levy. Levy
Okay.
Nathaniel Ross Jr.
And what's your mother's full name?
Hers, Janie Malcolm Hall Ross. Honey Jane was, I believe, her given name. I think.
Yeah.
And I know there was another name, and it. What was the other name that was? I believe that she had. I'm not sure. It would come to me.
Jan?
Well, Jan, and it was another name that I heard my uncle Winter, her brother, call her. I forgot the name.
So what was your fondest memory with your father?
To get to have received that chance to have him live with me in my apartment
Oh wow.
and to have him, well, to have myself know that he was my friend
Oh wow.
because I declared that he would be my friend.
Oh wow.
My
Around what time was this?
This was in 89, 90, somewhere
Wow.
around that time because when I got out of the Navy, I went over to my mom's house and he was acting up,
Sure.
my dad, and I wanted to kill him.
Wow.
Seriously, I'm not playing. I really wanted to get rid of him
This back in
because,
89, 90.
right, because of how he reacted with how things were with my mom,
Mhm.
past and presently,
Sure.
and the things that he was acting out, things that he did act out against me when I was
Sure.
a little boy. So I said, okay, this is your day.
Man.
But he whipped out his razor because he was a barber.
Yeah.
And Mama Ross, she whipped out her tongue. Boy, you better not put your hands on that man. I don't care what he did.
Now the fond
He's
memory.
your
Then.
father. So I had to understand how to get myself back on track
Yeah.
for him and with him.
Uh-huh. And so the fond memory though, the fondest memory.
Oh, well, that led to me having a fonder memory because I'm like, oh wow, she's right. So
Wow.
how will I incorporate myself to do that which is right? Because I'm getting ready to do some damage to me.
Mm-hmm.
So the fondest memory was to actually get him, my daddy, out of that hotel and get him.
He was staying in the hotel.
Right, some broken down hotel off of Imperial Highway and Prairie Avenue. So I got him from that place. That to me was more fun than anything else that happened because I got a renewed life, and that essence opened my heart, and I was so giggly.
And this happened in 1989,
1989, 1990, somewhere thereabout.
Wow.
I was living in Inglewood.
Wow. What was your fondest memory with your mother? What did you call your father?
I call him Daddy.
What would you call your mother?
I call her Mama.
Hmm.
Other people they call him whatever they want to call him, but I got mad at him later. But the fondest memory of my mom was when she came to my my ceremony when I was leaving boot camp.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because
What year was this?
this is in 80, the latter part of 80, 1980. And
That's so cool.
I saw her, and you know what? I forgot who I came, but I only saw her.
That's so awesome.
And she was crying, and I guess she was crying because she thought whatever she thought, because the military is nothing light. It's a very, very serious, and it's a very honorable way to take care of the people who you don't know.
Hmm. And how long did your father stay with you back in 89, 90? When you came out of the hotels in Imperial?
Probably about 6, 7 months, somewhere thereabout.
And it was the idea that you were able to help him and be a friend to your
Right. And I grilled that man from dawn to dusk. Every day that I could grill him on all the questions I need to ask him.
I love it.
And for me, it was a revelation, and that was my epiphany to who is this man? Who am I? Because if I would have got rid of him, if I would have put hands on him, then I felt the pressures of what I was going to read
for you.
Right.
Now tell me, what was your worst memory with your father? The worst memory you have of him?
The worst was how he put the worst was how he beat my mom.
So was this a
he beat
year,
her.
or this kind of just was in general, like your worst memory with him?
That was the worst. And
did it happen at one time, or was it just over a period of time?
That was the first time I ever saw them fight.
What year was this?
This was in 1965, 66. I was 5 years old.
As far as the worst memory you have?
It was the worst. It had to be in 65, the latter part of 65. Yeah, that was really because he almost killed her.
Your father was in this.
Yeah. And I guess the other one was other memory that's kind of damaging was a compelling memory. I was 4.5. I was basically 4. And he's calling me niggas. He's calling me black. I didn't know what a nigga was. So I knew it was a bad word. And my little heart was beating so hard and palpitating. I didn't know what to do but cry. And he was angry for some reason. But my mom's other cousin, Hawk, he was my football coach, Nolan Warren. Hawk.
I remember Nolan.
Yeah. So
dang, I haven't heard his name in a long time.
He was about to whip my father's ass.
So he was a cousin.
Yeah. And I always called him Uncle.
Now, what was your you ever had a chance to talk to your father about in memory when you were 4, when his words, and then when you were 5?
Did I get the chance to do that?
To talk to him about it?
Yeah, when he was at my house, yeah, I asked him, why did you do that?
Yeah.
He said, son, I don't know. I was going through a whole lot of stuff. I was in I was in the Nation of Islam at that time. They were telling me stuff, and I was just doing a whole lot of damage. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. He apologized several times when we were talking, but I just
What about the
needed.
domestic abuse?
He said that he was he was drunk and high and full of whatever it is that he had been smoking, drinking, and dropping. That he was angry, and his anger stemmed from my mom knowing that he was out there messing around.
Yeah.
And he had
He was being confronted.
2 other families, not maybe 3. So with that, it was an explosion. It was a time bomb waiting to explode.
Yeah.
Mm.
What was your worst memory? Maybe you have any questions, Emma? What was your worst memory with your mother?
First one was
I hear Sunshine and Roses about Jim.
Ha!
I'm like, how you gonna pull something?
okay. My worst memory was how she did not accept my children, LJ and Keyshawn, the way I thought that she would when it came down to us um, trying to lead a life where we could be happy, my 2 older children and I, because we were homeless. At this moment in time, they were.
What year was this?
Let me see. They were 7 and 8, I believe. So this was
90 something.
This is like in 93, 94, somewhere, somewhere like that.
Sure.
So we were there at the house, and
Wow.
we was at her house on Dalton, our house rather, on Dalton Avenue in LA.
Sure.
And the children, I had Keyshawn, because his asthma was really bad. I wanted him to learn how to blow a horn. And I thought, well, I don't want him to do the bugle or the trombone or the trumpet, because it's more energy, and I want his lungs to develop, because he was premature. He was a premature child.
Oh, wow.
So I wanted him to blow the clarinet, because it's easy. Clarinets and, and woodwind type, as you know, they're easier to blow. So, and LJ, he was doing the violin. So I wanted them to learn that, and I wanted them to learn how to play the piano later. But man, my mom made me feel so ugly, because she did not want them to play in the backyard. And I had them outside playing way in the back. And she started hearing them play, and she said, they can't do that. I said, but Mama, where are they gonna play? Where can they go?
Oh, you were staying with Mama?
Yeah, I was staying with her, and she got first he said in the interim, oh yeah, they can have, I'm glad you got them in instruments and music and stuff. But when they came home to start practicing, she got angry. And it was also my sister Adina, she was getting angry too. I'm like, how can my children learn how to do what they need to do? Yeah. Especially Keyshawn, when, with his asthma, because he's just having attacks on a regular basis. How can he not get himself together when he's supposed to be getting himself together by blowing his horn? He cannot get it together if you're telling him he can't get it together. He can't practice, then he'll never have it.
And it was your worst memory because of
how she was so right. We weren't accepted the way Adina's children were accepted. Adina's children, it was a big difference. I don't know what, and I don't know the full reasons why that was,
You think it was because of your relationship with the mom, or
I can't even call that.
you don't know?
I don't know.
But it was a lost memory. Like the overarching idea of not being accepted, your children.
That was the overarching idea, the fact that my children were not accepted
By your mother.
by my mom. So I figured, you know what, let me find a way to get away
Yeah.
and go find my own, because I need my own.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I eventually got an apartment for my children and I, and we started going on our own, but we were struggling so hard because every door was being closed throughout LA County for a single parent Black man.
Yeah.
And it was that, because sometimes I would call up on the phone and they said, okay, come on by. I get there to the place. Oh, you know what? We don't have any more open. I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't call you. Because of my color. I know so. This is no fault.
Yeah. Cool.
They always have, let me say this one part. Our country is so racially, this country was born into racism. Country, as we know, was a country of colonies and stuff. And after these Europeans came and swindled everybody and robbed everybody and just killed whoever they wanted to kill and slaughtered people, they figured this is theirs. How can this be how this country can be yours when you don't even speak the language? You don't even know what buffalo are. So how in the hell can this be your country? Yeah. And then you come and you kill almost all of them. And then you bring us over here. And then we merge with the indigenous people of America. They're not Indians because they ain't from India. How the heck can they be Indians? They're not Indians. So why y'all saying Indians for America? They're Americans.
We're gonna have are we gonna talk about take some time to talk about that.
Okay.
But what was, and I'm happy you brought that up because we can talk about that. We can talk about that. What was your favorite thing about being a child?
Wow. I didn't have to worry about nothing. My favorite thing about being a child, I didn't have to worry about nothing.
Freedom.
I could get away with some things and I can be silent about it. My most favorite thing was running around and being able to go places with my mom and dad, because at first my dad was somewhat of a good guy, from what I guess I could surmise from what I saw, because I experienced something different from my older brother and sisters. Levi didn't experience. Levi was he's my little brother at that time, because Levere was incubating inside mama. So I got that chance, and then to go around, and then when Levere came, things started changing.
So why was your favorite thing going places with your mom and dad?
It was my favorite because she would always have us to do chores, and I would do my chores, and my older brother and sisters, they didn't do theirs in a timely manner. I did mine in a timely manner, and
so it was a reward.
This reward, was for me to go out and go places with them. So my little mind, that was one of the greatest things. And doing artwork, doing little, drawings from my mind, just doing stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. What was the most stressful thing about being a child?
Getting a whooping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting a whooping with those hickory switches, or, Lord have mercy, the razor strap. The razor.
Yeah, that's right there.
Who went to the razor strap, Granddad?
My grandmama too. If she get it, but grandma didn't. She didn't do it hard. You know, she didn't hit us hard. But damn it, we didn't know how.
Was your mother's mother or your father's mother?
This is my mother. This is
grandmother. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know my grandmothers that well. Huh. Neither one of them. I didn't know them as well as.
Interesting process.
So yeah, that
sounds stressful. That sounds real stressful. What was your very, very, very first job?
It was, let me see, my very, very, very first.
Yeah.
I erected a lemonade stand.
Aww.
In the Jordan project. Yeah.
You made the lemonade?
I made the lemonade. My grandmother helped me make it.
How much did you sell for it?
A nickel and a dime a cup. Yeah. And
customers and everything.
Yeah, they were coming around, so I was making a little bit of money. So I was happy.
How long did you have that stand? Or how often?
Couple of months.
Okay.
Couple of months. And then I started graduating to doing the yard, and then I started doing yard work for other people.
Wow.
Next door and stuff like that. And they give me a little money.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then they said, oh, we take out our trash. And I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, well, okay, I'm taking the trash out anyway. And they give me either something, like some fruit or something or some money. And I'm like, oh, they give me some money. I want no fruit. But that was the deal back in the 60s.
Yeah. So out of all the jobs you've ever had, what's been your favorite job?
To be honest, I got to be totally honest. Yeah, my favorite job was actually being in the Navy.
Wow.
Yeah, I said to myself, well, that ain't my favorite. Yes, it was my favorite.
What was your job there in the Navy?
I was a fireman. I was a boatswain's mate that I came out. Boatswain's mate.
Boatswain.
BOAT''S. Yeah. No, yeah, apostrophe S.
Yeah.
WAINS. MATE.
WAINS. Oh, Wayne's mate. Oh, Wayne's mate. The hell is a Wayne's mate?
It's an individual who does all the duties of maintaining the ship's readiness for anything from, if I was asked to go to the galley, that's my job. I gotta go to the galley and cook. If I had to go down below to the boilers or to the engine room, I had to go down there and do that. If I had to go topside and help with the radar equipment, then I had to get suited and booted in the right format so I can go do that. And all of the duties that maintaining the ship's readiness, meaning shining, sweeping, swabbing, painting, always painting.
Why didn't you stay in the Navy?
I was a bad boy the last part of my naval career, and I had gotten married, which was the wrong thing for me to do.
I remember you telling us that story.
And
at the thing.
The situation happened where I smoked a joint, and I started pushing it out of my system by exercising, because I've always been exercising, and cleansing my system. We had a random urinalysis, did the test, and it wasn't totally positive, and it wasn't all the way negative. It was borderline. Inconclusive, and they said, you know what, you're positive.
Because it shouldn't be inconclusive. It should be negative.
It should be.
Yeah.
They said.
Should be no question.
So that was rearing on the tail end of my career with the Navy. And
how did you feel when you had to leave the Navy?
I felt bad because it was partially because that stress had built up from the Navy, but it built up more so from Lisa, my quote unquote wife that was a polygamist. I don't know. People say bigamist, but I think she had a couple other guys that she had been with, and I was a fool. I was a fool.
Lisa?
I remember the name. I don't really remember how she looked or anything like that, but I remember hearing her name a lot.
So yeah, that proved to be my downfall, those two issues. And it was basically because of the stress coming from her. And it led me to do the drugs for the marijuana, because I was doing my best to find some way to escape that issue with her. And I didn't like getting drunk, because getting drunk is, to me, is an ultimate thing that you can't do too much of nothing. So I could kind of control how much I smoke, because I know I'm not gonna smoke that much.
Right.
But drinking, you can't control it, because you don't know, that one drink might be the one that could put you over.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
And it stays in your system longer than alcohol, and it's a carcinogen. It eats people up, and they don't even see it.
So tell us about a time when you felt the most powerful in your life.
Wow. I felt the most powerful was actually when I was in the Navy. I felt
fascinating.
And it was
exciting thing with that, man.
It was a time that we would go, wherever we would go, as a Black man, Lord have mercy, we got so much praise. Yeah.
Praise. That was the days.
And we would go to places, and then guess what name they gave us? Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, come on, Michael Jackson. How can I be Michael Jackson? I don't even look like that. Come on, Michael. Oh, Michael. Oh, boy, that was so fun, because I got a chance to go around and see our planet. And a lot of people didn't get that. A lot of people don't get that chance. And I saw slums worse than ours.
We're gonna get into that.
Okay.
Do you still feel powerful?
Yes, I do. But I feel less power, because I've allowed so much negativity to grow within me and around me, and I've put myself in these precarious situations.
But you said you still feel powerful.
I still feel powerful.
And where does this come from?
It comes from what my mother always taught me, and from what my daddy taught me. They both taught me hope. Never lose. Grandmother, my mom would always say, never give up hope and always have faith. Granddaddy would always tell me, I don't want to hear no bad news. I want you to learn how to be better than me, and you need to be able to talk to your brother, because we've always had an ugly relationship, Levi and I.
So going back to traveling, what was your first traveling experience like? Like the very time you went somewhere, and then we're gonna bring it to.
Okay, going to Alabama.
This is your first time when you traveled?
Yeah, boy, it was so great.
Was it a drive?
It was a train ride.
Oh, that's
what city was it?
Ooh, we went downtown to the Union Station, downtown LA. And grandmother had already mapped out the trains and stuff, and how long it would take us. So we all went.
I'm gonna do that in her name. I'm gonna plan a train trip to Alabama.
And those trains back in them days was just packed with all the amenities without machines.
Wow.
They cooked actual eggs and the what was that the I forget the train that cabin they call it the canteen, right? And the canteen train part. Well,
how young were you at the time?
I think I was 6, 7.
She had all of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
I probably was even. I probably I think 6 or 7, something like that. So
was your father there with you?
Nah, he had to. When I think about it now, he had to stay back so he can watch those other children. Even though he was a barber, he was a barber and he had to make the money, but he was also having to stay back so he can make sure that those other children were okay.
Yeah, which I know you're talking to these other people now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that was.
So what city did you guys travel to?
I think it was Montgomery, because Montgomery is higher than I may be getting it wrong, but I'm Montgomery is higher than the other city.
Shorter or
not shorter, but Birmingham. I think Birmingham was closer to the shore.
Okay.
Possible. I don't really know.
Yeah. So yeah.
I do remember how long it took, and
5 to 7 days.
Now, what was so exciting about it?
It was watching the different cloud, for me, watching the different cloud formations, watching every hue in what I didn't know clouds could come in.
Wow.
Red, orange.
Remember orange clouds?
Yeah, and the white, we were in the white and the gray ones, but the red and the orange, I never thought clouds could be that color. And it's just how the sun set, you know.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, red clouds. And that was just something everybody in our family was just so awestruck from, and looking at the clouds and watching the as you go past each one of the telephone poles, it was, to me, it was like a wave.
Because it was like, yeah.
All this time, I didn't know I was going to be a sailor, because my favorite cartoon was Popeye. Because he didn't need nothing, but he didn't need no special injections. All he needed to do was eat some spinach.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to eat some spinach. So that's why I really love Popeye, because he was a naturalist.
That's why you always been healthy. That is so awesome.
Yeah, so
I never knew that.
So when that spinach, I was like, Mama, can I have some spinach?
Like, we might be chewing on garlic. That is so cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what was your first international travel? Like, where did you go and when was it?
It was to the East Asian continent of Asia, and the small island of Japan. So
that was your first time?
I remember hearing about in Japan.
Oh, really?
He went to Japan and turned Japan out. And
I was all like that.
How young were you when you traveled to Japan for the first time?
I was barely 21.
Oh man, that's
I had just finished my boot camp, and then 1981 was just coming around the corner. So I remember that flight. That flight was like a 22-hour flight.
Yeah.
And what was so beautiful, this was the first time in my life that when people say you can't go back in time, it's a small window of opportunity that we all can go back in time. And I know you guys are time travelers as well, because when you go from this part of the world going east, you're going back in time. Actually, what you're doing, your time is really almost on a standstill. At one time, I looked at the sun and it's like the sun just stopped. And then we were racing the sun, and then the sun was actually getting higher. And I'm like, wow. And it was a weird feeling. I had a weird feeling. And when we touched down, it was here in United States. It was already the first of the year. We went back in time, and now I got a chance to see New Year's again. I'm like, wow. I don't know how many people got a chance to do something twice that was so momentous as seeing the year come in 2 times on 2 different continents. And that right there was so ecstatic. So I think that has to be up there with one of the most amazing times in my life, just experiencing time, experiencing time going and in the back of you. And then all of a sudden, it came back up forward. You're like,
that's
wow.
What they're doing now with, this is a random like offshoot, whatever, but it's cool to have this video. Because it's like a phenomenon now in 2021. Like the idea of people asking the question. People always ask the question like, "How are you?" And then when phones happened, it was like, "Hey, where are you?" So people were asking like, "Where are you?" Because typically before people just, you're right where I am. But when phones happened, it was like, "Hey, where are you?"
Yeah.
And now with social media, people ask the question, "When are you?" Like if it's on YouTube, they'd be like, "Who's watching this in 2021?" 2019.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, like years from now, people be like, "Wow, you're watching this in 20," because it was posted years ago, but it's like we're watching this right now.
Right.
So when are you? Like,
I get that.
Yeah, still coming.
Interesting. So, do you enjoy traveling?
I love it. That is I would really, with whatever woman that I'm going to get with after this episode is over, and if I don't, then I'm going to travel this world. I'm going to go all over it.
Where are some places that, like, off the top?
Oh, off the top, I got to go to Egypt.
Yeah.
I must go to Egypt.
I gotta go back home, brother.
I got to go back home
That's
first.
Good.
Yeah. So when I saw you guys, the shots, I'm telling you, you guys made me cry because it's like,
oh wow,
man, it really did. And when I think about it now, I get watery eyed because I didn't get a chance to do that. I didn't get a chance to go to Egypt. So that's one of the first places I want to go. And then I want to go over to the Soviet.
That's a place I really want to go to.
Yeah, because those buildings are beautiful. Those boys got down. You see how pretty those buildings are?
Yeah. Those Russian architecture is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Russian architecture is something else. It is something very different from other stuff.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah. People don't understand it, but it is the Asian influence.
I can see that.
I was just going to say the Middle East doesn't have any like.
I can see that.
You got the Taj Mahal.
The Taj Mahal. Yeah, I want to go over there to see the Taj Mahal and the true India.
Yeah.
Where I see Indians.
Okay, you can tell me about that one when you go, because that's not a place.
Okay.
That's not a place.
You want to tell you what India is? Nah, that's me too. Go ahead.
The closest I want to do is Marrakesh.
Okay.
Just want to go there. That's it.
For the food, right?
That's it. Yeah. Just there.
Well, I went to India.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
How was that for you?
It was
gross, wasn't it?
Sanitation was off the chain.
Yeah.
Nasty.
I heard about that.
But they gave us praise being black. So it was an honor. It was one of the small islands off the coast of India.
Okay.
But
remember the place? Remember what it's called?
Golly, it's on the tip of my tongue. But that place was great.
Did you keep a journal or like a photo thing?
I kept journals, photos, and all that stuff. And then we had one of our compartments that was flooded with seawater.
Dang, and you lost a lot of this stuff.
I lost almost all of my photos, all of my archival journals, because I was keeping a journal because grandmother always taught me keep a journal, and I always had a diary. I always had a little diary, but everywhere I would go, it just wasn't meant for me to keep my diary because I would start writing in it, And I'll go back and say, wow, I did this, I did that, like you were saying with Mama. So it's like we could have had something to look at, my children, but they're all washed away.
Yeah, I wrote it when I was like 9, 8 and stuff, and 10. And I'm like, I wrote a lot, and I would go back like even 3 or 4 or 5 years. And be like, dang, this shit funny as hell. So I know right now.
You was
8 with I'll put dates and like what happened.
Yeah.
Swear to God, it was funny as hell.
So let's pivot just a little bit. What kind of student would you say you were, like in grade school?
I was a student that was always daydreaming. I wanted to be more than that, because grandmother was a teacher, and later she became a psychologist, sociologist, whichever one.
Did she homeschool you guys at a?
Yeah.
Now tell me about that. Like, when was that, and how long was that?
Okay, back in the 60s, the homeschooling was something of a regular event for us because we couldn't trust going out too much because the white folks would do some ugly things to us, spit on us, throw things at us, call us names. So we call them white patties. That was the term, white patties. Are you white patties, peckerwoods? I said, peckerwoods or peckerwood? I didn't understand what a peckerwood was. I'm like, I understand Woody Woodpecker, but why they call white folks peckerwoods? I couldn't understand that. It didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And then so because the back of their neck get red, I'm like, back of their neck get red. now I'm trying to figure out what the hell going on with the back of their neck. But yeah, say the question again.
I was asking about the homeschooling.
Oh, the homeschool. Okay, so the homeschool was the mainstay because we were getting taught Arabic. We were being taught from the Quran and from the Bible. We were being
wait. Grandmother was teaching y'all from the Quran. Who was teaching y'all from the Quran and teaching you Arabic?
Granddaddy had books on Arabic, so yeah. And I would get that book, so I would start trying to write Arabic. You know, I started trying to teach myself, and I would start saying the names, but being 8, 9 years old, you know, even younger, 6 and 7, I didn't know how to enunciate a lot of those words because at this moment in time, Granddaddy was basically going off the picture.
So were y'all in school and then she took you guys out of school and homeschooled you?
We were in school, but she gave us that much more information.
Oh, it was supplemental.
Supplemental homeschool.
Oh, okay.
And it was a time when the riots had happened that we did have to stay home.
Oh, okay.
So that small window was when we were basically homeschooled. We had World Book encyclopedias, we had Britannica encyclopedias, and any other type of books there from school to help us read, and we had to read out loud. We had to understand how to govern one another with judge and jury. And I still to this day, and I know everybody had their different beliefs on it, I must judge. I must judge. I must judge how I walk. I must judge how I talk. I must judge.
To you being a daydreamer as a student, did you see yourself in any of your children in terms of you being a daydreamer?
Now going thinking about it now.
Keyshawn, LJ.
Leonce.
You see yourself in Beyonce as a student? Like,
Yeah, because Lee, he was really brilliant. LJ was brilliant too, but Lee was just exceptionally brilliant because I got the chance to see his brilliance, and they wanted him to be a part of Johns Hopkins team to hopefully one day in the future go to the space, you know. But his mom was fickle-minded, and she said, "No, I don't want him to go because blah blah blah." I said, "No, let him go. Let him go way over there to Washington D.C. so he can get this." And with him listening to his mama, so he didn't go. But
did you hear about that?
No.
yeah, so Lee would go to school and he just would do the work real fast and be done, and then he'd just be, you know what, this ain't what I need to be.
Out.
Right, I don't need to be here. Why am I here? That kind of thing.
Yeah. So what's the highest education that you've reached?
I've reached after I graduated from Washington High School.
General?
Yeah, the Generals. Yeah. Oh shit. You too, huh? Yeah. That's right. So Generals. Yeah. So
Deep.
yeah.
I thought all y'all went to like the same high school.
I thought they did.
We did. We all went to Jordan.
Yeah.
David Starr
Jordan Watts.
Yeah.
But we had to leave. I don't know if LeVay went there.
You seem like he went to Washington ass.
I think he did go to Washington. I mean, did Jordan?
We sure gonna get it clear.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
I know he went to Markham.
Oh yeah.
I met one of his victims.
Wow. Working with him. That's okay.
Wow.
So Uncle Levi, real quick story. I got to tell you the story. It's great that it's on camera. So when I was at Torrance Transit, I don't know if you ever knew that I was working at Torrance Transit. Maybe like, what was that? Maybe like 5 years ago or something. So I know the director of Torrance Transit. They needed a clerk, and I was home. I wasn't traveling at the time. And I went to school with the daughter of the director at Torrance Transit. So she was like, "You live around the corner. Just go get the job. You're not on the road. Just go get the job real quick. You can just work it while you're home." I was like, I haven't worked in the office in I don't know how long. So long story short, I go. I tell them, "Look, I ain't worked the office job, but I'm gonna learn as much as I can, and I'm gonna do my best." Right? So they was like, "On the spot, you got the job." I was like, "Cool." So I start working in Torrance Transit, and I'm working on, I keep to myself, do my work. Right. We have a little lounge where the drivers come and they rest, they'll take a break or whatever. So one day I'm in the lounge because I just would take my break in the lounge sometimes, and I'm in the lounge and I hear some of the drivers talking, and they're talking about junior high school and how they went to Markham. And they were like, you remember those Ross boys though? You remember, you remember they used to, you remember that big one? You remember? And I said, I was like, oh my God. It was happening behind me. So I turned around and I said, "Are you talking about Levi, Lev, and LeVay?" They was like, "Yeah, that's what we're talking about." I said, "Those are my uncles." They was like, "No, they ain't. You ain't your uncles." And then one of them said, "Let me look at you. You know what you do look like a so, what? I remember his name was Daryl Daniels. Daryl was like, "Tell your Uncle LeVay." I said, "You know what?" I said, "Uncle LeVay is actually a preacher now." He's like, "No, he ain't no preacher." That's what he's been ordained as a minister. I mean, he's like, "No, I don't believe you. Tell him though, I remember him. Tell him I remember he picked up a weight and threw it at me and I ducked and it didn't hit me. But had I not ducked, I don't know what my life would have been." I was like, dang, I didn't know what to say. But it was just so interesting that like hearing these drivers talk about y'all and like they was talking about just how much fun they had growing up with y'all and how lively it was.
We was always now. You know what? I never knew LeVay had been ordained. So
no way. Until just now.
So I've always said he never was ordained. So I want to say that
he was ordained.
Okay, I want to say I apologize and I'm sorry that he couldn't get his act together and continue, because he would have been a very nominal preacher, but he did whatever he did.
Sure.
So the next question, did we get clear on the formal education? The highest education.
So my highest education has been some college. I've been going to college on a regular basis to facilitate the final process of my prerequisites for nursing. Because in the interim, when we were talking, you asked me what I wanted to become, and I figured it out after I got out the Navy, and I got a job working for Martin Luther King Hospital, and that was in 1987, and working in the emergency room as a nursing assistant, certified nursing assistant. I figured it out that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do nursing, but I wanted to do sports medicine, which is orthopedic specialist.
Now, what college or colleges were you going to?
I went to Associated Technical College,
which is based where?
Is downtown off of Wilshire.
It's downtown Los Angeles.
Downtown Los Angeles, Wilshire and Bonnie Bray. And that was for
the price situation when that happened.
Okay. And I became an EMT, which is emergency medical technician, a medical assistant, which is a little bit different from being a nursing assistant.
Yeah.
I learned phlebotomy, and they were going to teach me coding.
So you really went into that whole medical thing you talking about when you was like
and I bought all my encyclopedias. I bought the Britannicas. I bought all kind of medical books, and then I went back to school. Well, I'm jumping in. I went first to get my nursing, certified nursing assistant at Compton Adult School College.
My mother was listening there. Yeah.
Okay. And then
little candy striper back
and then that's when I said, okay, I'm going to start doing more work in this field because it's so lucrative. And then after that, that's when I started, elevating myself each time. And then I wound up after Associate Technical, I went to LA Southwest.
We know.
Right. So when I went there, I started learning more about what I needed to do, my prereqs.
So many people in my family went to Southwest, man. That's crazy.
I know.
I went to Southwest as well.
Yeah. And even my brother Chip.
Southwest.
Yeah, my dear departed brother Chick, he went to Southwest as well.
Wow.
And my mom went to Southwest as well.
Wow.
Yeah, Bean went to Southwest.
So yeah, I and then what messed me up on furthering my career in the medical field was me becoming a single parent father for LJ and Keyshawn. So
you couldn't do it all.
I couldn't do it all because their mother abandoned them 3 times during that situation when I was rearing them. And
Now, what's their mother's name?
Denise Fussell. Fussell. Fussell.
And this is when you were staying with grandmother.
Right.
For a while. Yeah.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Another pivot. I'm gonna ask this question and then I'm gonna turn it back over to Walter.
Okay.
For the questions. But what are your spiritual beliefs?
Oh, hell yeah, I was waiting for this. Let's go.
You know what?
For the record, Levi.
I grew up believing in, I didn't know nothing about Baptist. So I grew up believing in Islam.
Really?
Yeah. And then my mom, she, after the big situation with the fight and all that stuff, she pivoted to her roots, which was Baptist and African Episcopal.
Wait, real quick, Levi. So your first spiritual exposure that you can recall in your life was Islam, was Muslim.
Right.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah. And we would pray 3 or 4 times a day. And
when you were like a kid,
mm-hmm.
Get it out of here. Oh,
yeah, and I enjoy the spiritual essence of what Islam gave, because it was, to me, it was solemn and it was all
peace.
Right, it was peace, but I just couldn't understand
how he was always off the chain.
Right, why my daddy acting like this?
Sorry, go ahead.
But I didn't understand the full ramification being a little boy.
Yeah.
So you pivoted. I pivoted
as a child. And then I started asking questions.
When you started asking questions, how young were you when you started to ask questions?
I was 6, 7
when I started to ask spiritual questions.
Right, and
this was when you started to be in like Christian church, like.
Yes, because now my dad and my mom, they separated in 66, and she got her divorce finalized in 67. So now I'm asking questions that I hear other people say, "Oh, you don't question God." So now I'm questioning God. The hell you doing questioning God? Boy, come over here. I'm gonna slap your lips off.
And this is relatives, these are church
people. Church people. Boy, I'll slap half side your head off.
Because you're asking questions.
Man, if half side my head be slapped off, I wouldn't have no head.
Do you remember the questions you asked?
Yeah.
Tell us a couple of
questions.
These are 6 and 7-year-old Levi questions.
Correct.
Okay.
Who is God? Where is God?
Right.
Why God let people like my cousin die?
Wow.
Who was the cousin?
And the cousin was Jackie, because he was a medic in the Army.
That's right. You're talking about him. Yeah.
He got shot in the middle of his forehead. We had to go back down to Alabama, and we saw him in his coffin, and they had a glass.
How many people he killed, right?
Right, and they had a little stopper.
Oh.
In the middle of his forehead.
Now, did he got shot in?
He was in one of those helos, helicopters.
Okay.
We call them helos in the Navy. It's short for helicopter. So the helo that he was in, I'm not sure if he was trying to retrieve somebody from the danger zone, or he was out on the ground surface, and I'm not sure how it went, but he got shot.
You were asking like, why would a God take somebody like?
Why would God take away? Yeah. Why is it that God's gonna strike me down with lightning if I tell a lie? Yeah. Because I was always being told God's gonna strike you down if you don't do this. So why am I so afraid of this
guy?
Yeah. And who are we supposed to? And another question was, who is Jesus?
Sure.
Is Jesus God? And why? And if I stop asking questions because you don't question God,
What did that do to your spiritual beliefs?
it made me ambivalent. I couldn't understand if this is my God, our God, then why are you teaching me so much about him and I can't ask questions? That don't make any sense. It never made sense to me. My questions are always questions on something that I need to know the answer to. And people even
suspend
right. And then when I ask questions about devil, I don't call him the anymore. I call him devil. He's devil. He's not the anything to me. He's another entity that has immense power. So I would ask, what's going on with devil? Oh, don't talk about him. You can't talk about the devil. The devil this, the devil that, the devil. And I'm thinking, you saying the devil all this.
So what?
But why can I ask my question as to who is the devil and what and all this other stuff? Don't even
what
think.
Would you say are your spiritual beliefs today?
Today, I'm a spiritualist. I don't believe in what man has written in a book that he's published all around the world. He got it from some other country, and he's put this book out on blast for everybody to read. But he has special books. He has special his versions of this Bible, this teaching tutorial thing, and each place that this Bible is in is geared towards how these people from these other war-raging countries, how they sit on people, so to speak, that are a darker color than themselves. So I couldn't understand, why is this book so highly praised, but all these chapters about Jesus is gone. Where did he go? Did he have a wife? You know, did he have children? Did he have sex?
Tell me this, so you wouldn't say that you are a Christian? You're not a Christian?
I can't say that no more, because
tell me this, what is a Christian?
To me, that's, from what I was taught, it's blasphemous to give a religious preference a name of one of the ministering people who's giving God's word.
Gotcha.
So why would it be called Christianity, which is Christ?
Sure.
Why would Islam be called Mohammedism? Sure. It's not called Mohammedism. It's called, it's the Nation of Islam, and it's not giving rise to the person who's talking about God.
Well, what do you understand a Christian to be? Like, what is a Christian according to Uncle Levi?
Oh, wait, let me go this.
Okay, yeah.
Buddhism, I don't understand that either. Why are they calling it Buddhism? Because Buddhism, to me, he's giving rise to a higher power. So why did they give it Buddhism? And these are questions that not too many people can answer. Sure. Maybe it's a different name other than Buddhism. I don't know. But any religious sector that has the name of the individual who's trying to give the information, that to me is not the way to go about learning spiritualism. Sure. Now, the question again?
What is Christianity according to Uncle Levi?
Christianity to me is
I'm sorry, what is a Christian?
Oh, a Christian to me is somebody who doesn't know, most of the time, who doesn't want to get to know how better that they can be, because they're learning they're learning a lie.
Sure.
They're not learning the essence of what happened.
Sure.
Because still in these books that they're reading, I don't know how many chapters that permanently lost from Jesus, his upbringing from 12 or what have you to the age of 33. So how in the heck can we give him any type of praise and understanding to the fullest? And we don't even know what happened in those years. And
so according to that definition, you are not that.
I'm not that. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Baptist.
Spiritualist.
I'm a spiritualist. I'm not Hindu or anything.
I have to stop and say this. Baby always called me like Captain Red Pen type shit, whatever. And I've been doing my best not to say nothing on all these interviews. Just listening and asking questions and not really like, stopping or changing stuff. But I have to say this observation I've noticed, like we've interviewed now all of our parents and my auntie. So we've been kind of even. We have 3 women and you're our 3rd guy. And in terms, certain questions are so similar. Like all of the women are like Captain Jesus. And all of the men are like, this shit is weird, which is so fascinating so far.
My dad though is a little of both, I think.
I have to go back and look. I remember him being like, he don't really fuck with church. He like it's cool, but he's
not necessarily church.
Okay.
But like I remember him talking about
he's spiritual
and God.
Yeah. And my pops was like, I'm an atheist.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, Daddy.
Right. Right. So I would say like Dad and Uncle Levi are spiritual.
Yeah.
Right. And
my dad is like, fuck all this shit.
I'm somewhat on that atheism because when you really look at how our infrastructure is, we don't see hardly no interaction with in our political structure of the world. We hardly see any interaction with spiritualism. We'll always say the Vatican, we always say this, that, and the other. But how many people really, really, really do that?
Gotcha.
It's a hoax.
Because
they pay money into it, but those guys, they're the ones who are taking money away.
Gotcha. Let's get to some of my favorite questions. What is your sentiment, Uncle Levi? What is your sentiment on Black Lives Matter?
My sentiment is we matter, and they needed the women who brought it upon us. I believe they wrestle with a lot of words, and because our country, America, Northern America, how we just continually dog out the darker skinned people.
Sure.
Every person who's not light or bright, and they're not white, and you're almost white, we'll give you a pass. We'll give you that pass. You can come on over here with us for a little while.
Sure.
But when we get ready to go over there with the good old boys and whoever else we're going with, oh, you're my friend, Black man, when I need to tell you, but you're not that. So I think those women had to put the name that fit for that time, which is Black. And because they could have said American Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. Or African American.
Or African American. Or they could have said American African. They could have, however they could have, or it could have said people of color, of darker color lives matter. But they put the word Black because that's all we've been the one person, us and the Native Americans, we have been the ones that's been persecuted.
Sure.
Them not so much, the American natives, because they can pass.
How?
Because they're almost white.
You were born in the 50s, right, Uncle Levi?
60.
You were born in the 60s. So, did you ever participate in any of this Black Lives Matter protests or Trayvon Martin protests? Did you participate?
I participated from a distance.
Elaborate.
I was happy to see the outcome of a new day a new dawning of a hopeful leadership for the people who have always been downtrodden on. And it's not just the blacks. It's like I've been saying,
Minorities.
any minorities that isn't of the color, right? Because even the white, the American European man, he put his woman down, his white woman, he put her down, right? And even before then, yeah, and she was almost a slave. Was like the other livestock. And then his woman was just above that.
Oh, you gotta see that. Oh, we gotta show him. Like when we eat, we gotta show him Beer Richards. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, no. I was
thinking that because that's exactly.
I was thinking about them.
I would heard the poem.
I was thinking about them, and I was thinking about Exterminate the Brutes.
Oh yeah.
Native American, but but so did you participated from a distance? How? Elaborate.
I participated just to say, wow, we finally got there. In spirit, right?
So you felt it was good. Now, how did you feel seeing them protest?
It's beyond a feeling. It was knowing, because feeling is I can feel that way, but I know that is a good thing going. I hear a lot of liberalists, and I hear a lot of people from the from the right. They don't even want to call themselves Republicans no more, hardly. I forget what they don't call themselves control. What they call themselves? Conservatives. So they want to call themselves conservative now. So with that being said, a lot of them, their forefathers were the mean, evil ones, and they don't want to admit that they're still doing the slavery thing themselves. So
there has been this movement. I'm not sure if you're aware of it in corporate America. Well, you probably were. It's been news, man. Like with you got J.P. Morgan allocating $200 million towards like what's been happening after the George Floyd protests. Large major corporations have been now a bit more sensitive and a bit more willingness to like move and do things for corporations for people, the sensitivity thing. And so they've established these new departments in a lot of these corporate offices called the DEI initiatives, or the DNI initiative, stands for diversity, equity, and inclusivity and inclusion. And they've hired DEI directors or DNI directors, hiring a lot of Black people in C-suites and stuff. A lot of African American women CEOs and African American CEOs have been announced like just back to back since this George Floyd stuff started happening. Have you been hearing about this? Have you been hearing about this at all?
Yes, I have.
And so-and-so's giving this money, and so-and-so's giving this money. What's your sentiment about this DEI movement?
The conglomerates, people used to always call them 1%ers. I call them the 1/5 to the 1/8. Whatever number is small and crunched, it's gotten smaller to me, because these people are the ones who's running this planet. The 1/5 percenters, or the 1/10 percenters.
Sure.
They are giving all this money back because their descendants, they feel bad that their grandparents did all this ugliness and this damage.
That's what you think?
That's what I know.
Wow.
You talking about J.P. Morgan?
Yeah.
That man was a tyrant. That man was hellified. All the other people, all them, let me say it straight. All them motherfuckers were just fucking us around, period. Yeah. Because that's what their agenda was, to make sure that my foot, just like that idiot did to kill George.
Yeah, Derek Chauvin.
Chauvin did that purposefully, because he had control over all his boys riding with him. When they rode with Chauvin, and then those police boys rode with him, this is my show ground. I'm going to do what I have to do to these niggas. And if you ain't a nigga, oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean to say it like that, fellas. But these people,
Yeah.
That's probably how he was saying shit. And
Uh-huh.
then he got George on the floor on the ground. He knew George.
Hmm.
That motherfucker knew George from way back when they was in high school.
You feel like that?
I know that. Well, I don't know. I can't say I know it. Sorry about
But,
Sorry about that.
But it's like
he knew this man, and I think when they were in high school, yeah, I'm gonna get this nigga. You think you bad? You think you did? George is probably whooping ass and shit on the gridiron.
Yeah.
Playing all the sports. Just damn George. All I hear is George. That nigga ain't shit. Now he got George out here in the world. I don't like this motherfucker anyway. He's still breathing. Mm-hmm. Hey man, get on his back. I'm gonna stand on his neck now.
So tell me this, Uncle Levi. What is your political belief? Or what are your political beliefs?
I used to, I was Republican for a good amount of the time. First few years I was in the Navy.
Sure.
I turned Republican.
Why?
Because I saw that they were getting most of the meat.
Okay.
And I did vote for Reagan.
Okay.
And after I start looking at everything more and more and just start listening, I felt really bad because for my beliefs in the political attaché, because I saw that the Democrats were not being forceful enough. And I saw the Republicans being more forceful. I wanted to be where the force was.
Forceful. Elaborate on that.
It came down to getting the job done and putting money into different programs and things of our infrastructure. We were doing it, meaning the Republicans.
Gotcha.
At that time, I was a Republican, so we were doing things. We were making shit happen.
Sure.
And the Democrats were basically trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
But they were making things happening too. But I just saw the Republicans in the early 80s being more of that juggernaut.
Fascinating.
And then after seeing how Democrats were really messing up and how they were not doing their job in our community of the Blacks and our communities, no matter what project housing complex we were in, they always had the police come in there to beat our Black men. I never got beat up by black men. I never got beat up by the policemen. But Chick, my brother, he got beat up. I think Levi did, and a whole lot of other Black men and women got beat up. And I would see them, and I've seen some get killed and heard about some get killed just because they had a cigarette lighter. Oh, I thought he had a gun, and then they put a gun on him. Mm-hmm. And I saw how they.
And you feel like that was like Democrats or Republicans?
And I saw when I was looking at that, I was younger. So I'm like, wow, all these years, my mom, let me tie this into it. I learned how to be politically savvy somewhat from my mom. She was a socialist. Sure. Mm-hmm. But she was a socialist like Sanders. Oh, gotcha. Mm-hmm. And she wanted change to come about through a revolutionary twist so that the Democrats can adopt the socialistic profile and use that as a template to rise and give us more than what we didn't have. Yeah. But that right there helped me not to be a part of their plan of attack. So I'm like, you know what? I don't like this. And then I saw that Republicans wasn't too much better, but they did have money. And they were on a bridge. They get paid more than what these Democrats.
So what are your political beliefs today?
Today, I am more or less neutral. I'm straddling the fence of being neutral and liberal.
Huh, you wouldn't say you would consider yourself a Democrat
I can't
because
of their negativity, and every time they try to get something started, something somewhere somehow stops it. And then you have in these people on these talk radios, right? And it doesn't seem productive enough. And then you got these right wingers on the talk radio programs, and they're feeding unabridged lies, and they're lying about certain things, and they're heightening it up, and then they call people names. Why you got to call people names?
Democrats.
These are Republicans.
Wow.
Why y'all gotta call people names every time you talk about somebody? And if you talk about something, can you get the whole picture on what could have happened instead of telling your views? But that's the whole objective. I want to tell my views on what I think, and you better believe it.
So what is your sentiment about Black Republicans?
Black Republicans should know that this country is fucked, and we have to do something to make it better. The Black Republicans, a lot of them, they act like the white people who came and who are still here they act like what they're saying was correct, and they never saw, their grandparents never saw strange fruit when they walked down the road hanging from a tree. So what the fuck are you talking about, Black man? Is it that you don't remember the strange fruit?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But I bet my bottom dollar your parents do.
Do you think when you were a Black Republican, you were kind of like dismissing that past?
But I dismissed the past?
No, do you believe that when you were a Black Republican, when you're in the Navy, do you believe that you were dismissing that past as well?
No, I believe that I was catering to a change. And I wanted a change because Reagan was talking about a change.
So what do you feel about Black Republicans today?
That they need to bring awareness to the surface and believe in the change that will be permanent and stop the violence that will come to them as well, being Black.
Wow. Fascinating. So what is your sentiment about Donald Trump?
I truly believe he is one of the greatest influencers of our time. Yeah. He is immaculate when it comes down to helping people to understand his truth. So to me, the man's brilliant. He's a brilliant idiot.
It's our main show, Brilliant Idiot.
He wants to understand whatever he wants to understand. Yeah. His highway is the way. He doesn't like anybody that, he reminds me of a king. Not a dictator, but a king. This is mine. Bitch, motherfucker. Oh, I can do this, I can do that. But when you hear all that other stuff on talk radio, on how the conservatives say whatever they say, like what they say that Miss Waters, Congresswoman Waters said, whatever she said, it was nowhere near as ugly of what Trump was saying. Trump was saying some shit. Trump got people killed.
That's a good comparison.
And
like
they don't even, right. And they don't even want to talk about, oh, no, he didn't do that. Trump didn't do that. Oh, okay, well, he wasn't up there talking about people.
Tell me this, Uncle Levi. What would you say your beliefs derive from in terms of your political beliefs, spiritual beliefs?
Oh, my mom, because she had me going door to door. I was volunteering. I was there at her political meetings with, what was that man's name? God, dog, Patrice was
Really, Thomas?
just, Well, she was, I think my mom was a forbearing person to help Ridley Thomas, whether he knows it or not, be in office.
Right.
Because her,
because he was around back then.
yeah, and but he was a baby compared to,
coming up.
Yeah, coming up. And grandmother, Dr. Harris, she's in, she, what was her first name? Golly, she lives there in JD. She has the whole block is basically her. In Watts. No. This is in Watts. Sweet Alice Harris.
Oh, okay.
And she's an honorary doctor.
Wow.
So she helped a few other of the women. I got photos of them.
Yeah. But a lot of your spiritual beliefs and political beliefs.
It came from her, on how she helped me to gather information and to be prepared. She was the first one, my mom, to help me to continue to be prepared and not to go out with some change in my pocket. She always say, you gotta have some money for a phone call. And saying, don't ever go nowhere broke.
Yeah. Exactly. That's
So because my mom taught me that, and she taught me how to budget. And even if I didn't have a budgetary plan that was always good, I always knew how to keep some money in the kitty somewhere.
Do you still budget to this day?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a thrifty budgeter. Sometimes I almost will run out of gas. I say, wait. I need to find the lowest gas station around. But I always put high octane in my truck because they run better.
So here's like my absolute favorite question. Take your time, go deep, elaborate. I told you this before, but Uncle Levi. How would you, or what rather, what do you want your family? What do you want your family to inherit from you?
I want them to inherit from me the greatness of themselves, the greatness of themselves, and not to be shortchanging themselves to say, "Oh, I'm the best." I want them to inherit the greatness of what we all have inside of us. Always have love, because love, hope, honor, faith, happiness, all that, all the great things that go with that, I want them to learn that. And I want them also to learn failure, to be the greatest failure, to have learned from your failures, and to always read, always be on top of what's happening around the world in your neighborhood, and allow yourself not to be what you know you should not be. We all, what I mean by that is, everybody on this planet, except for a few, we have one genitalia or the other. And even for an individual that has both, there's one genitalia in that body that's more profound than the other. People in my past have said I'm, what's the term, phobic? Homophobic
or transphobic.
I'm that to a degree. I have to admit I am, but I don't see them as a less loving or a less greater individual. I just see that maybe they made a mistake in going to get their body transformed into something that they're not. Some, they have to get their body trans because they have more of the other sex, and that's how they were born. But the others, to get their body chiseled and cut and these other things put on them, what the hell are you doing?
With the inheritance.
The ones that were born with it, inheritance.
I mean, like you talking about your inheritance, though, like you want people to inherit from you.
Oh, and okay, let's put that to the side.
Yeah.
So, I would like for them also to inherit, my children, my family, to inherit my questions. Always question, no matter what it is.
Damn, I gotta give you some on that.
Question everything. Stop acting like we cannot question. Question everything. Judge everything. You don't have to give the final gavel to say, oh yeah, you did that, and that's what your epitaph says on your, no. Judge it enough to know that you better not go down that street where them niggas at.
Yeah.
And then niggas might be them white boys.
Like, don't be naive.
Right, don't be naive. So you better learn, you better listen, you better judge. Right. People don't want to say, oh, I don't judge. You know, you the first person that I'm looking at now because you're lying. Oh, and learn how to say you a liar. Can we learn how to say we're a liar? Because you know what? No matter what woman I've been with, and I told them, you know what? I'm the best liar on this. I'm the greatest liar. I learned from the best of this world. People in the military, they taught me how to lie great.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm still here today, because of the lie that they told all of us. Because if I'm telling on you, and you're on my boat, and she's in the military too, and she's on land somewhere, guess what I just did? I fucked up. I fucked up so bad that I fucked up her. And she might just be getting off work.
Yeah.
And here comes some kind of bomb or something gets dropped and she gets maimed. You and I are still out there in the water. We talking all this shit. We cool, but they have another whole new regiment going to somewhere else, getting ready to tear something else up. Yeah. So I just told the truth. So I just told the truth about what I shouldn't have said from my comrades, and now look at the end result. Everybody getting fucked up. So if I tell the lie, guess what they're going to believe? They're going to believe an intelligent lie. But if I tell that truth, and that truth just sounds so good, it's like, you know what? No. That ain't really happen. Guess what? Tell a lie. If that truth sounds so good, and that truth don't sound good, tell a lie and see what happens. I mean, I really mapped that out, and I did that for a little while. And I'm like, I did it with my children first. Wow. Hey, we do it, blah, 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 blah. And they said, oh, okay, daddy. And then after a period of time, I'm like, now, let me tell them this. Okay, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. One was a lie, one was, I'm not going to go through all that stuff that wasn't verbatim, but I told them a lie and the truth. They believed that lie. They believed that lie. I said, but that was a lie, boy. That didn't happen. I think it did, possibly. It sounds true. But man, it's not true. Okay, let me help you find out. And they found out that, dang.
So baby, is there anything that you want to like ask or add or anything?
Just wanted to give him the opportunity to say, add anything that you want to add.
Okay, yeah. I've always saw myself and my family as the proverbial white sheep. Because there are whole flocks of sheep that are black as well, that have black faces. The whole flocks of them have black faces. But for me, I was always that Charlie Brown dude. That dude always asking questions and always doing stuff. So I see myself as untamed, wild, and not wanting to do what everybody else wanted me to do. I've always went against the program. I got messed up in the process because I'm doing it my way, and now I gotta figure it out. But doing it my way was the way that helped me to figure out what I'm not going to do and how I can get out of this situation. It's like now, I know I shouldn't have gone back, but for me to go backwards, I'm reaping the rewards, and it's not good. As much as I love, and much as I want to be loved, I want to be loved from a woman that gives me that unchanneled love. And yeah, I made some mistakes, but don't continually put that mistake on me when your son or someone in your family did so much damage to me that you, mother, cannot even express your views to me, a father, about what your son did that was uncalled for, was heinous.
I actually have a question. What was the longest period that you've been single?
I can remember. The longest period I've been single as an adult was 2 years when I was overseas in the service.
Wow, wait.
So see those connections?
So that's why it was such a great world for me, because I may have been around women, every now and again, but when my fiance, when her mother wrote me a Dear John letter to tell me that our wedding was canceled, not postponed, but canceled, I grieved. So I went celibate for that period of time, and I encountered some women, to say, hey, you pretty, dance with them, maybe kiss a couple of, but we didn't have an affair, those women and I. And then after I was about to come back home, then I got the rude awakening again when because I was trying to get with this one lady. She was on another ship, but the rude awakening is that she left and I wasn't able to get her mailing address.
So I have a follow-up question to that. Why is it so important to you to be in a relationship?
It is important to me because that is a high yielding want.
High yielding. What makes it high yielding?
I want to have company with a woman because they just smell good. And they're so soft.
It's so fascinating because we actually, this is the connection that I was pulling out. Like, when we asked you, when did you feel the most powerful? You were in the military. And then we asked you, what was your favorite job of all time? You said it was when you were in the military. Then we asked you, when have you been single the longest? And you mentioned when you were in the military.
Yeah.
I just find that a fascinating, proximity there. Like a fascinating correlation, rather. Well, what is that? Me pointing out that correlation. What does that mean to you?
It meant that it was something within me that my leadership qualities gave me, well, you said my spiritualistic self helped me and guided me to channel my insecure self to do something that others claim that they don't want to do, because I was claiming that I was never going to go to the military. I don't want to go to the military because I saw how
your Uncle Jackie.
Well, that was different, but I saw how my daddy did your father and kind of almost making him go. He basically made my brother Chick go. LeVay, he influenced LeVay to go. And he's telling me that I should go. I told him, I'm not going, man. Basically, I'm not going because you're telling me to go and I don't want to go. I could do something else.
Sure.
So when I did go, it was kind of funny because I was going to school to become a barber. This is my first time, either a cosmetologist or a barber, just before in 1979. So I'm getting ready to enroll into barber college. And when I got in there, first 2 weeks, it was like Christmas every day. All them girls sitting down there. And I couldn't even keep my mind on my studies. I was like, you know what? This is not right. I'm not going to become, I got to get my mind refocused.
But
so that's what
the observation though of like, the longest period of time when you were single, you feeling the most powerful in your most favorite job of all time, and you've had, various careers and had various pursuits, and vocations and stuff, but at your favorite job, you felt the most powerful, and this is also simultaneously the longest period of time when you were single. What does that observation mean to you?
It means that I was destined to be some kind of sailor or soldier. It meant that I'm not going to.
I mean, but in terms of like specifically, like relationships, like what? I mean, this is 3-pronged here. Favorite job, you felt the most powerful. You were single, the longest. Simultaneously.
Oh, okay. The relationship. I never thought about that part.
This is a fascinating observation.
Yeah,
because you talk about relationships pretty frequently, and you were single.
Being in
you felt the most powerful.
No, I got to admit, being in the military, no matter what branch you're in, the camaraderie, the love, the sanctity,
the void,
the sating,
right?
Some level.
It fills a void of every companion and every known and unknown sailor, soldier, marine, and flyman, all over the planet. Because when you're going through something that's so hard, that one individual person who you might not like, it's going to be the one that nobody else better not fuck with when you're out there. Oh yeah, I can say whatever I want to say there about this motherfucker here, but you know what? You ain't got to say shit. You can't be saying shit because you don't know him. You're from a different country, so don't play that with me and the guys and my comrades who we're with. I don't give a damn if we don't like each other. You are the enemy. He is not, even though in our little minds.
And what's so funny too, when you talk about when you left the military, you talk about it was involved in romance.
And you know what?
I thought that's a fascinating correlation as well.
Being in the military is a romantic,
it's a fascinating correlation.
It's very romantic.
But it's this observation, right? You're in the military, you feel the most powerful you've ever felt in your life, right? This is what you said today. Then your favorite job you ever had in your life was also in the military. And then the longest period of time you've been single was also in the military. And then you talked about when you left the military, it involved Tina, or Lisa. Rather. It involved the romance. which was kind of ironic correlation here.
Right, because it's a
And then
love
it's like
hate situation.
This dark period with this Lisa. I remember we were telling at the wedding breakfast, that pop that my dad hosted for me. You know, it was me, you, Ruben, and Malik. And you talked about this Lisa situation. I'm like, dang, this is crazy. But the correlation is just fascinating with relationships. So fascinating.
So my question is burning in me. How do you feel right now today, or what do you think about when you think about a single Uncle Levi, a single Levi?
I think about being able to open that door into my art and opening that door so that I could make people laugh and make them cry at the same time, make them think from cartoons. I'm so fascinated with cartoons because cartoons, as people don't see it, cartoons are a what you call that? What's the word? Picasso? He's a
abstract.
Abstract. Cartoons are abstract because whether you think about it or not, it's a life-altering piece of someone's thought that they put on paper and it made it come to life with funniness. We know cartoons can't die and come back. We know they can't make those maneuvers like they turn their head around and shit and turn into monsters and all that. We know they can't do that.
Sounds like, and tell me if I'm wrong, that you as a single person, and when I say single, like not being in a relationship, like an exclusively romantic, committed relationship with a woman, opens up possibilities.
I really believe, and I know it, but because right now I'm stagnant. I'm like I'm a still watered man right now, and I don't like. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I don't like myself right now. I love myself, but I don't like myself because I got into another situation with this woman, and it's put me down.
What do you not like about yourself right now?
I don't like not listening and not going on what I've been told something is.
Listening to who?
Listening to other individual people, man and woman, when they give me an understanding of what their thought is, and their thought is spot on. Because I was told before I got into this relationship, again, this is the second time,
that feels no great.
What I should not have done.
Yeah.
Was telling me that they're saying she's going to do that, she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to say this, she's going to say that. So damn it, that girl didn't say everything the one with now.
What makes you rather disregard the sound, wisdom, or advice that you see and understand this sound, you hear this sound, and you just
do otherwise,
disregard it and do something else? What makes you?
My
say this for later?
Yeah.
You want to throw it away?
No, I ain't throw it away.
We have food warming up.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
You smell that? You smell that?
I do.
Yeah, man, I'm losing my mind.
So,
I just wanted to be done by the time we were done. But what makes you, like, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, what makes the sound advice unattractive? It's almost like it's unattractive, right? Because it's like
what I have really found out, and that's a good question. That's a beautiful question. What I found out is I don't want to be wrong, and I have to admit I want to be right.
Okay.
I want to be right a lot of times, but I don't want to be right in a sense to say I am right because I think I'm right. I want to be right because I know I'm right.
Okay.
And the things that I know, I can tell somebody. Like last night, I was telling my lady that I clean better than you.
Okay.
I believe she got upset with me saying that because
that would have made me upset as well.
Yeah. And she said, okay, I got it. I said, you can't clean nowhere near as good as me. You don't know the meaning of it. I said, you never had to clean for a whole week.
Now, was that insulting?
It was.
Okay.
Very insulting.
Okay.
For her.
So you knew that it was insulting.
I didn't at the moment.
Okay.
And then after I said it, and she said, okay, and she made that face. Okay, I got it. Like, damn. Next thing I know, she's going off on me.
Yeah.
So.
Of course.
So that's what I'm saying. It, bring that back to what I was saying about being truthful. If I had said a lie, she would have believed it.
So.
Or if I had not said it at all, it would have been even better. But the lie, or not saying it and keeping that to the side within me, that would have been better for her.
Okay.
But it would have been bubbling up inside me.
Oh, so what I'm hearing is that you can you turn off the oven, please? Is that there is a challenge in telling the truth with love.
Very big challenge. And if that challenge can be met, because I know it could be in the relationship, because I see it in you guys' relationship. But let me not put the word if, when that challenge is met, you have a better way to argue your point in a conservative and a more equal way, or a more positive way, because individuals don't even understand the word argument. And they say, oh, well, I'm not arguing. I don't want to argue. Well, I tell them, I am arguing. I'm arguing with you. Okay. And they say, well, I don't want to argue. I said, well, I'm arguing. So can I argue?
Okay. How this is great, Alethea. This is great. How do you, because arguments, right, are really just emotionally heightened negotiations, right?
Or
they're just like,
and they are pieces of information that you hope to have someone think about and give a better view on what they may not have seen.
Yeah. Another form of negotiation.
Another form of negotiation. And it doesn't have to be right. And it doesn't have to be heightened.
Right,
like,
it doesn't have to be heightened.
No.
It can be.
It can be. Oftentimes it's heightened.
So how would you describe your own negotiations that you have with yourself? Are they, do you talk to yourself the way that you talk to her?
Yeah.
You insult yourself the way that you insult her?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
I see.
And I feel so bad.
Do you know that the reason why you insult her is because you insult yourself? Do you know that?
I'm knowing it now.
Okay.
At that moment, I didn't.
Yeah.
Because it's I want her to feel what I've gone through. And since she doesn't feel it, I said, okay, you know what? Let me put it more straightforward. She don't understand it. And you know what? I fucked up. I allowed your son to whoop my ass. And you know what? If that shit, if it would have happened again, I would do my best. I didn't tell her. I do my best to kill him first before when I see him. I'll do myself to kill him without you and him not even knowing it. That's how far I took it. Okay. And I was like, you know what? I gotta bring this back down. I gotta pull that away because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be this, but I'm having nightmares on a regular basis, and I can't even tell her about my nightmares because she doesn't believe that her son did anything wrong to me. And she doesn't believe, and she believes it. Let me put it like this. If my lady believed that whatever her son did was so unobtrusively wrong, he should have gotten both of us together with another person in the family to mediate and to somehow rectify the situation. If her son has these mental issues and mental blocks and all this shit, then she needs to get somebody in there to stop this flow of negativity, because he is my enemy. I mean, I'm gonna try to know everything I need to know about him. And every question I ask about someone who is an enemy is like devil. I'm gonna start studying more about what devil and his minions or her minions, whatever that being is, because I don't know if it's male or female devil. So I'm gonna find out more about devil. It's like I need to find out more about how I don't want to continue this ugly relationship with this woman who thinks and she says that I am whatever it is that she thinks. Don't think for me. You don't piss for me. You don't shit for me. You don't eat for me. You don't sweat for me. So why you keep on trying to tell me what I've done when you ain't never saw me? You ain't never saw me do nothing. Oh, where were you at? Oh, your girlfriend's house. Don't bring me no STD. Stop that shit. I ain't telling you that. My children didn't do that to you. So yeah.
My thing with regard to relationships have always been this, and since being with Alethea is just further and heightened my understanding of that. And it's tough to admit this for some people, but you are the company you keep. Period. You know, you are the company you keep. Period. And what's dark now, what's often tough that people have when accepting that. When I was single, I used to talk to women and ask them like this question, because like it's easier to talk about other people than to talk about yourself. And so they'll be like you meet somebody and they'll be like, give me their best 90-degree self, right? Not exposing to their whole 360. They'll be like, yeah, you know, I'm like, all right, that's what's up. Like, tell me about your best friend, right? And then they'll be like talking about how much they're not like them, you know, sometimes, sometimes they'll be like, it's all good shit. I'm like, that's awesome. What else? What else? And sometimes it'll just start to descend into like some just creepy shit. And I was be like, God damn. And then they'll just go on about explaining like how much they're not like their best friend and wish their best friend would change. But like Alethea pointed out, typically what you observe in somebody, or what you experience in somebody that is fear-based or jealousy or resentment or anger or something is typically, what I've noticed is typically some unaddressed issue that you're going through that needs to be faced. And like famously, James Baldwin said, not everything that is faced can be changed,
right?
But nothing can be changed until it is faced.
Correct.
So it's one of those beautiful things that it's that a lot of that internal work so that you can then attract who you are where you're happy with yourself. Like you mentioned how you don't like yourself right now, but you always love yourself unconditionally. It doesn't matter where you are, you always love yourself. There's certain aspects when you are like, I think when you come to a place where you're truly happy about where you're going and what's going on and what's happening in life, whatever, it's typically when I know Alethea and I were going through a significant transition in 2015. And I'm sure clearly we were excited about where we were going because at the time we were drawn to each other and kicked it off in September. And then October we made it official. And then November I moved right here and been here ever since. And where we've grown to and where we're growing is still super exciting and incredible. But the contrast, I believe that it's a lot of internal work, like to heighten the radio station. Like when you move in the radio station from 92.3 to beat to 106, like they're both clear stations, but in between them, let's just use 88.1. Like we all know about 88.1 jazz. We all know about K Long.
I got to listen to my jazz.
So when you on 92.3
and my classical.
Yeah. So when you're on 92.3 and you're trying to change to 88.1, in between that is going to be really fuzzy. So when you're transitioning from 92.3 to 80.1, you know you want to be here because you like that. You just feeling like jazz. You just want to be. You want that sentiment, not the whole bombastic, creepy shit. But in that transitional period of like just unfuzziness and like where are you? You may not like yourself in that transition. Nevertheless, you still have that itch. So you're bringing people who are also unclear and uncertain and crazy as fuck, and you're trying to like maybe settle or try to make something happen. But until you can get happy with 88.1, just your station, when you feel like you're happiest, you feel the most powerful, you feel like this is the best job ever. And this is the longest period of time you've been saying, I don't know, I'm just saying some conclusions. I don't know, I'm just drawing some, I don't know, just observations. And then when you're there, what happens there is really great friendships, really great amorous relationships. The working, it's just all starts.
But the relationship with yourself
is paramount. Paramount.
Well,
and I was afraid. I would say I was really afraid to not have a significant other as a companion in my life before, like transitioning from my last situation before Walter. I was afraid because it was like new territory. Like I had been on and off with this dude for like 6-7 years. I didn't really know anything else. That was like such a long time, and so much of my life is like something happens good, I call him first. Something happens bad, I call him first. You know, it was like, it was habit at this point. So I was really afraid, but I was so tired. I was like, I just can't be this person that I don't like. I wasn't happy. I kept disappointing myself.
Right, and that's where I'm at, because in that radio station is a great analogy, because
we're antennas and we attract what we.
That bombastic stuff that she plays, I'm through.
It's a reflection of where you are.
So I'm not trying to bombast myself with something that is not within my scope of misunderstanding, because I'm hearing misunderstanding messages and loathy messages and these crummy messages about how to degrade our people. Why do I want to hear the music that's always talking, always suggesting, fornication and fucking? I want to hear music that's gonna fornicate my mind to do something very artistic and very something.
And then you can look at the characteristics, the dress code, the swag, the occupations, the degrees of the people who listen to this music, and then look at the socioeconomic beliefs, political beliefs, the dress code, the ideologies, the conversation of people who listen to this. So it's like it's a whole culture regarding to where you are in your life and who you attract in terms of the frequency that you're drawing into your life that becomes the norm.
But see, with this situation I'm in, this woman is not where she needs to be, because her dress code is where mine is. She's not trying to,
I hear you.
Reveal, but she's faking. And I'm faking being in this situation.
You know what, Levi? I believe there's a space, right? Because you said, daydreaming. So this is my thing, is like showing people like that there's this space within us, right, where we can create the visual of ourselves that we really want to be, and then be that, right? So I believe there's a space in you right now that exists where you love yourself. You also can love her in a way that you're always respecting yourself and you're always respecting her. You don't have to go out of this with the hate and the disrespect and that.
That's the one word I do my best not to use, because it's so.
Which word?
Hate is such a hard
But that the description of what you the interaction that you have with her is a derivative.
Correct. It is a subdivision. You're right. So yeah.
So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that there is a space. I believe there's a space that exists where we can and I promise I didn't. It took me a minute to get to that space with my last situation where I was like, you know what, I want to get to the point where I'm not mad at him. I'm not disgusted by him. I want to be grateful for him.
Correct.
Because I am really great. And I want that to be that's where I always am with him.
Okay. And that piece right there is what I'm doing my best to keep away from with my lady, because I don't want to grow into that space. Because what you said, that's a key situation. I don't want to grow out of not loving her. I want to leave her and allow that part of the space that is and was. Just want that to be just for her. Because I don't want anything else to happen. I'm just going to eat this with this. I don't want anything to happen from her and I where I'm at within myself, and then I carry it over to another woman.
Exactly.
I want to just.
But you continue to, before you even get to another woman, you continue to carry this with you.
Right, and I need to close that, and I need to open up just enough that I can say, you know what, I love me, and I don't care what she says about me. And for me, I've already started it, because I don't care what any woman say about me anymore. I don't care. You can say whatever you want to say, but you cannot take away my love.
That's good.
Because that's what grandmother taught me. She said, don't let them steal your joy. So to me, that helped me to see, wow, now if I allow this woman to steal my joy, I've allowed her to take away a part of me that is for me. That's what I like. I like about her. I like the fact that she did this, did that, did this, but she can tell me whatever she wants to say about what she believes that I don't. So what?
Yeah.
Like the other day, she said, yo, you don't like my dog, you hate my dog. I'm like, okay. So all I could say was, you know what? You can say whatever you want to say. You know, your dog, if your dog could talk, she'll let you know that I'm the motherfucker that helps to feed her ass. Even if she does go over there and shit on your rug, you know, spill.
Uncle Levi, we're gonna shut this off and transition to just like a cool personal conversation. Like end it with like an embrace and a hug and gratitude for your vulnerability and time, man. Levi, I love you so much.
Love you too, brother.
Really appreciate that, man. So much. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Yes, yes, indeed. I thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.